Hey guys, Chris with Tillman Family Farms. We're gonna do a little bit something different today. Not really part of the farm business, but we do a lot of gardening here for our own self-preservation. As far as we started doing this as a homesteading thing. Oh God, years and years ago. So we're a little bit old school with it. I'm going to give you all a garden tour, and then I'm going to kind of show you guys how we maintain and keep up and explain to you what the different things are. We got a lot of stuff that's already out of the ground, and then we have a lot of things that have not popped out of the ground from seed. So give you the tour, show you some maintenance things, and we'll see what else we can get into today. When we moved here, we kind of looked around and analyzed and all kind of different things about where we wanted to put this garden, and I still don't think that it's in the greatest place. It's on a little bit of a hill, and if we have a good downpour after we've planted, a lot of times we have problems with the end of the rows and things like that. But it's an old school garden. It's all in the ground. We have to remediate the soil every year. But we plant mostly from seeds. We buy our tomato plants from the FFA kids at our local high school that our kids went to. And then there's a couple other little things, maybe like peppers and things like that, that we'll buy and put in the ground just because they're a little harder to seed start. But let's go and check out these rows of green beans right here behind me, and I'll tell you all about them. So green beans from seeds. So green beans are a staple for us as far as something that we can and things like that. When our children were younger, that was one of the vegetables that they would eat. So what did we do? We planted a lot of green beans. So that is the purpose behind that. But they do really well for us every year. This is the first time the green beans have been in this section of the garden. We swapped them with the tomatoes. So we're just trying to break some things up. This whole entire garden got a year's worth of compost, which was probably a dump truck load of manure, chicken processing compost, and wood chip. It had all kinds of stuff. But anyway, green beans, and that's the biggest reason that we do them, because we love them. So next we have tomatoes. I don't know how well you can see these plants in here. They haven't been in the ground but maybe a week or so. But in this section alone, there's probably 52 tomato plants right here. So we got this whole row up through here that we can see. A lot of people are going to say, man, them things are too close together, but it's the way we do it just about every year. And we don't have any problems putting up our own spaghetti sauce, stewed tomatoes. We make all sorts of stuff. Well, let me take that back. I don't make hardly anything, but my wife, on the other hand, is very, very good at canning. So we got this whole other section right here. Tomatoes everywhere. All right, so let's move on over here. So what we try to do is we try to grow things that we like and that we eat and that we would like to be able to have throughout the year. So what this section is, this is black beans and pinto beans. We do a lot of Mexican dishes. We just kind of like that style of food. So you got 2 rows of black beans, and then you got 2 rows of pinto beans. Pretty sure that's what that is. And in the next row here, this is going to be squash and zucchini, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I think there's a couple of rows here. A couple of these rows got planted a little bit later, and they just haven't popped out yet. So squash, zucchini. Then you get over here, and there are 5 rows of purple hull peas. A a lot like black-eyed peas. So I love peas. That's one of the biggest things. So I've got all these purple hull peas put in, and we'll shell them. We sit around and shell peas all summer long so that we can get those canned. The next 2 rows are jalapeno peppers. Jamie does what she calls cowboy candy. That is one of our sellers that we sell with business. So we've always just bought jalapeno peppers from somebody local, and this year we decided that we were going to plant a bunch of plants and that she was just going to have her own. So there you go. This is corn that is not doing very fantastic. I never really have good luck with corn, even though it's relatively easy to grow, but try to keep it watered as much as we can. Like I said, I planted this corn quite some time back, and we had a pretty good rain, and as you can see, it kind of gully washed on me, and the bottom end of this garden kind of washed out a little bit. So I replanted some of these seeds yesterday, and we'll see how they turn out. But that is this whole portion of the garden. Let's go down to the lower portion and let me show you all what we got going on down there. So this portion of the garden is new as of last year. And we just had all this space down here, and I kept asking Jamie, I was like, you know, what can we do with that down there? So I sunk the tiller in the ground just to see what the ground was like, and bam, there it is. So these are going to be rows of okra. Okra is another thing that's part of the farm business. She pickles okra and sells it, and people love it. They buy it like crazy. So that's what all of that is. Then we had somebody give us another 12 tomato plants, and those are extremely close together, but we're going to see what tomatoes do down here. They look pretty good. Then this outside row right here is all beets. Nothing has popped out of the ground yet on that. And then I even got a little crazy this year, and I ran my tiller through all this stuff over here just on a whim, and so it's the weeds and things like that are growing up through here fast. I have to keep it maintained pretty well. But so we have those are garlic. They don't look very good. Yep, garlic. And then you can probably see some of these are onions. We got red onions, sweet onions, and I can't remember what the other one was. But then we have some potatoes. We got potatoes popping up, and another one right there, and then another one. We got a bunch of potatoes. Hopefully these potatoes will do very good. We didn't do potatoes last year, so got some catching up to do. But that is pretty well the garden tour. Of course, these onions run all the way back to here. So that's pretty much the garden tour, but we do this stuff old school way. So that plow that I was walking with starting this video off, let me show you what that's all about. All right, guys, this bad boy is a push plow. You can change out the implement on the bottom of it to do different things. What I have on there right now is called sweep. And basically what it does is it's shallow and it's kind of flat and it's bladed on both sides. So as you run between the rows, it's just turning that dirt up and it's covering up the weeds. This is the way that both of my grandfathers farmed. They actually farmed this way. They would pull mules, or a mule would pull something like this, and then they had tons of these. So it's just a really simple way to keep the rows weeded without having to get down there and pull weeds by hand or spending a lot of money on mulch or anything like that. So let's get to work. Man, I can hear some of y'all now, y'all are saying, dang, Chris, that's a lot of work, man. Why don't you just put some mulch down there? You can do that. That's a good way to keep the weeds out of there. But when I was a little kid, I watched that push plow get pushed a whole lot in a lot of gardens. So that's the way I do it. Not a whole lot to it. I don't do this every afternoon or every day or anything like that. Not the whole garden anyway. I'll do a section like I just did, and then the next day I'll come in and I'll do another section and then another section. So it just kind of breaks it up throughout the week, but it doesn't give the weeds time to grow and things like that. When you get between the tomato plants, you'll take a hoe and kind of hoe them out and get the weeds that way. But for the most part, that's it. You run this plow through here a couple times and everything works out pretty old good. Keeps the weeds down and just move on with it. So you've seen the garden, so let me run through here real quick and show you a couple of other things that would grow that are not really associated with the garden itself, but they're kind of scattered out around the property. Blueberry bushes. These are two different varieties. One of them is powder blues, and the other one, I'm not quite sure what they are, but we have several of them planted just above the garden. And we put these things in the ground, I guess, about 2 years ago. And they have done pretty well. As you can see, they've got blueberries all over them, coming along. Even this old scraggly thing, it looked about like this when I planted it, and I have fertilized and done all sorts of stuff to it, and it always puts off blueberries. It's just not a whole lot to the plant. And then this is my grapevine. Shane over at Kinfolk Farm he's gonna tell me the right way to take care of this thing. So we didn't prune it back last year well enough, I know, and we tried a last minute pruning on it with instructions from our friend Shane, and I just don't think we pruned it back enough. We haven't been very successful getting grapes off of it, but I'm gonna tell you, it's healthy and it's growing, and it's going to keep growing, but we're going to have to do some serious pruning on this thing to get it right this year. So we are in one of the pens with the pigs, and when we first moved here, there was somebody that used to tell us all the time, man, there's a pear tree over there somewhere, a pear tree over there somewhere. We never could find it. And when we fenced this off and started putting pigs in here, and the underbrush started getting cleared out, lo and behold, we found a pear tree. So we trimmed around a little bit and kind of trimmed it up, and this year it's really going to be the first year that this thing's produced well. There was a couple on it last year, but man, this thing's loaded this year. What kind of Georgia farm would we be without a peach tree or two? So last year was the first time that this tree actually had any peaches on it, and it is covered this year. And then its little buddy over here, it's not done so well. We've done some fertilizing and whatnot, but we'll see how it goes. So peach trees, we plan on putting in a couple more peach trees. So one other thing I've got out here, I've got an apple tree over here. Apple tree I thought had died last year, and it did not. So it's coming on pretty good this year with some nice little growth, so we'll see how that bad boy does. So PETA will be proud of me on this episode. We'll call this the vegetarian episode. All right, guys, so I got a lot of work to do, so I'm gonna close this one down. But I know we don't do a lot about gardening, but as you can see, we do a lot of gardening. If you got any tips, questions, anything like that, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll try to do my best to answer anything that you got going on. Tell you what we do, how we fertilize, how we plant, and all that kind of stuff. But for now, I gotta get to work. So thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, please go down, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.